ago, I had a mentor as I was going through the process of writing a book. And I do believe I was guided to her. And I think I met her at a networking event, and we struck up a conversation. And in the process of, as I was writing, I kept thinking of her, and I really wanted somebody to guide me through that process, because I really had dropped into something or said yes to something. I didn't drop into something. Said yes to something that Spirit inspired me to, and after I fought it for a while, I finally said yes. But I knew that I was delving into something that I had no experience with. And I really wanted help, and that's why I eventually approached this person to be my mentor. And she did help me immeasurably during that process, because I was fighting the process tooth and nail all the way through, because all the way through I was denying that it was for me to do as I was doing it, which we often do. So talk about 2 steps forward and 4 steps back. I probably did that several times a day with that project. Some weeks it was 10 steps back, 1 step forward. Some days it was 20 steps back, no steps forward. So it was pretty much of a roller coaster ride. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally. It was a very emotional journey, because I really was finding my greater depths of my self-worth through the process. And I was wrestling with my trust in the divine at the time. So I was constantly asking, are you sure this is what you want me to do? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And it was really me that was unsure. It had nothing to do with Spirit, but that was my battle, not Spirit. Spirit just laid it out and said, this is what I have for you. That's what I heard in my meditation, so I trusted that, but just needed somebody to help me through that process. So she was talking me off the ledge on a regular basis through the entire thing. And I remember distinctly the last day of that process when I was finishing up, and I had probably 2 or 3 things to finish before I could put a period at the end of that and say, okay, I think this book is done. It's time for me to figure out where this goes from here. And there was a large part of me that didn't want to finish, because finishing meant I was going to do something with it. So if you always stay in the process, you can deny that there's anything that's going to happen after when you're on the last part of the journey. So I played with that, and I'm sitting there, and all my emotion come up, and I'm fighting with all of the things that I judged as failures throughout my life. Because I started saying, well, you don't finish anything big. Well, you don't do this. You don't do that. And what makes you think you should do this now? Never written a book before, and Spirit said, go write a book, and you said yes. What the heck made you say yes? I've gone through all of that, sitting with the laptop on my lap in my living room. I remember distinctly sitting there and doing that. And I dialed her number, and I called, and I said, I'm stuck. And she kept saying, no, you're not. No, you're not. Let's just take a breath. And she talked me through finishing that day. It only took me 15 minutes to get through that last piece and finish that up. So I was truly, 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 truly grateful for her and the work she did with me, her guidance, how she shepherded me masterfully through that. She didn't give it to me. She merely kept throwing crumbs to me and saying, just come a little further, come a little further. Let's talk about what it is you're feeling. Let's talk about what's going through your head. Where's that coming from? And she was just masterful at all of it, all of it. I am still deeply grateful for her through that process. I probably could have finished without her, but it probably would have taken me another 6 months to do that 15 minutes worth of work, because that's where I was with that. So after we were done that process, she came to me and she asked if I would teach her how to investigate discrimination complaints, because at the time, my main job was investigating Title VII EEO investigations, equal employment opportunity investigations. So when someone filed a complaint with the federal government and said, I didn't get this promotion, and I think it's because I'm a black female, and they went through the process and went through counseling, I was often called in as the investigator to go through this. And I'd been doing that work probably for about 15 years at that time. And my mentor said that she wanted to learn how to do that, and she knew that that was work that you could kind of, for the most part, dictate what your schedule was, and it was done remotely. So I did all of it from home, usually phone and email. And I said yes, because of course, this is my mentor who's approached me about mentoring her now through this process, learning how to do this job. Well, I said yes. But as I said yes, and for days after that, everything that I heard in my heart, in my head, and in my gut said, don't do this. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. It was almost like a scream. And it kept saying it over and over, and the whole time I'm saying, but it's my mentor. I didn't think I owed her anything, but she asked. And I thought, sure, yeah, she probably would be very good for it. She's very smart, very skilled. She probably had the right background for it. Everything looked good on paper. That this was a good deal and we would be able to do this together. And at the same time, I kept feeling it. There was a tension in me all the time. We started talking about how to get into it, how to start the training. I was sending her documents. Every single time I stepped forward to go through another step, I kept hearing no, 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 back out now. And of course, I ignored all of it. All of it, because it looked good on paper. And we went through this process, and it was hell. I saw facets of her I did not know. She lied to me about things. She didn't do the work correctly. She missed deadlines. And I had at the time, a 15-year relationship with a company that was trusting me to train her and bring her forward. Because when I asked them about it, they said, we're fine with it as long as you train her and we know you can handle it, you're good at what you do, and if you can bring her along and train her, then great. And we'll probably give her a contract. Everything went wrong. And I learned that there were, parts of her I did not know and had not experienced yet. And it was a holy mess. Not H-O-L-Y, W-H-O-L-L-Y. There wasn't a part of that experience that was not ugly. And we went back and forth on this. And there are days when I had to tell her, I'm no longer your mentee right now. I am the senior investigator right now telling you this is wrong and you need to redo it. And she would say, oh yes, I'll do it. And then 2 days later, I'm chasing her to find out where it is, where's the corrected work, and it wasn't there. Just bad. I ended up having to do the investigation for her because there was no way I was sending in substandard work to the people I worked for. That was not going to happen. But the onus was on me, so I had to do it. Totally misjudged everything. Totally. We ended up having to sever our relationship, or I severed the relationship, because I figured not only did you not listen to me, you lied to me, and you betrayed me more than once. Because I kept going back in, because I kept saying, well, this might be a fluke. All right, no fluke. It was ugly. It was bad. And finally, I said we had to sit down and talk. I told her to send everything back that you have. I don't remember. I think she ended up delivering it to me. And I ended up finishing 2 investigations for her, both of which went in late, which is not a good thing with federal investigations. But my people backed me up because they knew me. They knew me, and I explained what was going on. So we had to have that hard conversation where you say, this is what happened, these are the principles or my values that were violated, in which case we are no longer friends, and I'm saying no to this relationship. I wish you well. You go with my best blessings. Lose my number. Lose my number. That was so, I was heartbroken. Because this is somebody I had trusted. This is somebody who had guided me through something that was pivotal for me in my life. Pivotal. A mentor betraying me. So I had to grieve that and get over it. And then I sat down and I had to get clear about why it went in the ditch. And the answer was just me. I only had to look to myself. That the spiritual guidance I was giving, that I heard in my heart of hearts, in my time of meditation, I kept hearing that still small voice say, nope, 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 nope. Oh, God, no, 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 no. I felt it in the pit of my stomach. Stomach pains. That's how loudly this was talking to me. And I ignored all of it. Not her fault, mine. Not her fault, mine. So I used my human discernment, and I looked at all the stuff that looked right on paper and said, this is a good idea. However, the spiritual guidance that I was getting, which was what was happening through my body, what I heard in my heart of hearts in meditation, and all through the day, every single time I sent her something or she and I had a conversation about the work, all of that was spiritual guidance. All of that was Spirit saying to me, I've got your back if you'll let me have it. I've got your back if you'll let me have it. I know of things that you don't. I know all of her, and you don't, and this isn't going to go well. And I ignored all of it, all of it. That's why it went wrong. My fault, again, not hers. Because people just do what they do. We are who we are. We are who we are. So this third power that we're going to talk about today is judgment, discernment, discrimination. Knowing what is right and what is wrong, right and wrong for us, what is for our highest and best or what is not, rather than right and wrong. Right and wrong are judgments. Something is either for our highest good or not. Saying no to her would have been for my highest good, for mine and hers, because we both had an ugly experience. The company I worked for had angst and had a difficult time throughout all of that because I didn't listen and take the road that was for my highest good. So Spirit, God, the all-good, knew all along and knew way before I knew before I showed up on this planet and the other person showed up on this planet, that this wasn't going to go well. And that these are the variables that I could not have known, but that something, God knew. And I had only to tap into that and say yes and follow that. Go with the flow that Spirit had me in, and I was still swimming upstream, going in the opposite direction. Judgment, discernment allows us to step into a space that is larger than our human brains can fathom. Because our brains are only aware of what's in front of us, of the relative realm, of what's here in our physical existence, the things that we can discern with our senses. That comes from the animal and the human realms that Dharmini was reading to us earlier. Spiritual discernment allows us to go to that third realm, the spiritual realm, where the all good, that all the ideas that ever existed, all the knowledge of all things, of all beings, of everything exist. And it has that, and it sends us that information based upon what it is we've decided we want in life. What it is we decided that we would prefer to have in our existence. So Spirit knew that I wanted to go to the next level expression in my life, and so the book was the idea. And she was there for that and nothing else. So I heard Spirit then when it said she's the one for the book. Then leave it alone. Let her go. Maybe that was, they say, someone's here for a season or a reason. She had one reason to show up in my life. And I made it so much more because I refused to listen. Huge, huge, huge message for me. I never forgot it. It's still painful from time to time to think about the ending of that relationship. However, I got really clear about the difference between what I can discern if I only use my human eyes and the information that this brain can hold, and that if I just open up to what Spirit has available to me and for me, what life might be like then. And it's there for us all the time. So as I've said before with the 12 powers, it's not that you have them, we are those powers. And we have them all the time. We're using them all the time. We're just using them at different levels of vibration. So I heard Spirit's voice. I felt Spirit moving within me. I felt the no. I heard the no. And because I have free will, I went into another route. I said, no, I think I know what this is. But there was another part of me, the spirit of me, that knew differently. And so we have that power all the time in all things. We have it when we decide what we want to eat for breakfast or what we're going to have for dinner. Will we have dessert or not? Do I want a second drink or not? Have I had too much? Am I going to stop doing this? Oh, I have time to exercise. I want to do something else. The doctor said don't do this or do this, and I'm going to do the opposite. That's all discernment. All discernment. We get to choose. We're at the point of choice all the time. And that power of discernment is right there waiting for us. And I believe Spirit is always talking to us, talking through us, talking as us, that higher self that we are. It's not a different self. It's a part of us that's always speaking and saying, I've got your back if you'll let me have it. If you want to do something else, go ahead. I've still got your back. And I'll help you clean up the mess. Spirit did help me clean up the mess. Spirit guided me through every single word of that difficult conversation I had to have with her. When I released her out of my life, I heard Spirit, I felt Spirit in that moment guiding me through that conversation. And as I drove home in tears, I felt Spirit with me. It may not be pretty, and it may not be easy, but there is something that always has our back. And it's us, and it's ours, if we'll use it. So we have to listen. We have to feel when it's in your body, and I think the further we get away from saying yes to what Spirit has for us, the more intense the messages get. I mean, I had stomach cramps, and I ignored every last one of them every single time I talked to her. So this discernment is exemplified by the Apostle James, who's the son of Zebedee. And he represents the part of the body that is the pit of the stomach. I had pains in the pit of my stomach as I was saying yes to her every single time. My gut was saying, don't do this. So when I ignored the voice, my body kicked in. I said, oh, maybe she didn't hear us. Let's give her another message. Another chance here. I don't know how many chances I had where I said yes when I should have said no and cut it off. We've all had those things where something, the pit of your stomach, something in your gut is giving you a signal. And we either abide by it or we don't. That is spiritual discernment. We have to, well, if we don't have to, if we want to have more of the flow in our lives, if we want to move through life with more grace and ease, we can say yes to the flow, to the voice, to the feeling in the pit of the stomach. Simple as that. I now know to my bones that there is something with me, operating as me, that is always talking to me and trying to make my way easy. Fortifying me with all the information I need for my next step. Telling me exactly what I need. Making my way clear, crystal clear, even if I don't understand what any of it means. We don't need to understand, we just need to go. Just go. Nike is still right, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. So discernment, judgment. Sometimes it's called discrimination, where we can discriminate between right and wrong, what's for me, what's not for me. What's my highest and best? What's not my highest and best? What would I prefer? What would I not prefer? What would I love? What would I not love to happen in my life? And it's always giving us choices. And no matter what we decide, whether you say yes to go with the flow, or if you want to swim upstream and kick easy out the door, we are still loved. We are still guided. And you can be guided through picking up the pieces if it all goes awry. We're still guided. We are still using that power of discernment. But sometimes we're not using it at its most powerful level for our highest good. So what do you trust? Do you trust Spirit, God, the all there is, the all good? Do you trust it enough to say yes every single time it points you in a direction? Or do you trust with some things but not with others? Or do you pick and choose? Say, oh, I'll do that, but that other thing, I'm not doing that. I've done it 1,000 times over. So this third power of discernment is huge. I think it's for me, it's been one of the most impactful in my life. Because I do hear it, and I hear it all the time, because I have a daily spiritual practice. I'm in prayer and meditation every day. And when I'm not, if I get busy or again, Spirit's moving me to be in this space with me. You're already there. Focus on me. Focus. I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to guide you somewhere. I'm trying to give you some information. I got something for you. I feel Spirit's pull every single morning, and sometimes I even say no to that because I think I got something better to do. I don't take the time where it may just be 2-3 minutes that's needed. It may be 30 seconds that's needed to guide me for my day, for the next step. But the more we listen, the more we are in practice, then you get used to that voice, and you can hear that voice. You can feel the voice. You're aware of where it's speaking to you through your body, through anything, through any of the noise of the world. So no matter what's going on, no matter who is advising you to do what looks good on paper, you can still hear the voice saying, doesn't matter what's on paper. You need something that's not on paper. You need something that you cannot discern by your human senses. Focus, 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 focus on the wider, the vast, the infinite spiritual realm. Put yourself there. Open your mind, open your eyes, open your heart, unclench your fist. Get humble. You might not know it all with the human senses. I've got something for you that's for your highest and best. Will you say yes? Will you say yes? All we have to do is say yes. And then heed what we're told and walk forward towards our highest and best. That is spiritual discernment, spiritual judgment. Something always has our backs. Let's take this in a meditation. Just take a deep breath. Discernment is about trust. It's about letting go of all that you think you know. For all that the infinitely powerful spiritual being that is you knows. Your God self. Your God self is always speaking, always guiding, always shepherding you. Doubt is simply putting your trust in something that is out of alignment with the all good. With discernment comes clarity and ease and grace. With spiritual discernment, our highest and good is waiting on the other side of yes. Everything you've ever wanted, needed, in the way that will make your heart sing is on the other side of yes. Trusting what you hear, trusting the voice, the still small voice that is God. The voice that said through Scripture, "Be still and know that I am God." All that you need in this moment is right here. What perhaps are you not trusting right now in life? What have you not surrendered to your God self? What is in front of you right now that looks good on paper, but something within you is whispering no? Or where have you been hesitant to say yes and step forward? Even though every time you think of it, your heart starts to sing. Everything within you starts to smile, and yet you hold back from it. You refuse to open your arms wide to it. What is that thing? We all have something. We either say no or we're holding back a resounding yes. Are you willing to trust enough in the next moment to say yes to the still small voice within you? What's that thing? What is that thing? And in the sheer release of a yes, either in your heart of hearts or out loud, galvanizes the universe to bring you what you need in the moment. In fact, the universe responds to your thought of yes. The letting go of your resistance, your hesitancy, your doubt. As soon as you relax it, the universe goes to work to overflow your good in the moment. So let's breathe in, yes. And exhale, yes. Breathe in, yes. Exhale, yes. And say in your heart of hearts, I am ready for my good in this moment. I am ready for my good in this moment and all moments. I say yes to the good. I say yes. Yes, yes, yes. And thank you Yes, and thank you for overflowing good right here, right now. What would happen if you said yes to the very thing you've been holding back on? The very thing you've been resisting? What if you said yes? Just breathe and relax. Keep breathing, yes. Exhaling, yes. Inhaling, yes. Exhaling, yes. Good overflows into my life every moment of every day. Everything, everything, everything is always working out for me because I trust. I use my spiritual discernment to overflow my good into my life. Every moment of every day. Grace and ease. Grace and ease. And so it is, and so it shall be.